Hello, everybody. I'm back. I am back in my college dorm. And I'm ready to be making some more content for you guys. Um, I'm going to be making chess videos every single day, chess streams maybe every single day. Probably, maybe that might happen, but definitely chess videos every single day. So make sure you're subscribed. Most of them are going to be instructive. Some days when I'm busy or, uh, I'm just not feeling that great are going to be shorter, kind of like this one. Um, but most of them are going to be instructive. So make sure you're subscribed. We've got a new layout. I've got a new microphone in the back. Haven't set it up yet because uh, there's a stand that I'm waiting for that was supposed to be here yesterday, and it didn't come in. What the heck? But the headphones are going away. We're getting an upgrade to a real mic, so I can't wait for that. Um, and let's just get into the chess. So let's do it. Today I'm going to be showing you a miniature that I played on chess.com a couple months ago. This is probably my proudest miniature game. And for those that don't know, a miniature is simply it's simply a game that you win really quickly, and generally it's not something that you have prepped. Uh, so a lot of people have games that like they win in 10 to 20 moves, or they get a winning position in 10 to 20 moves. That's part of their prep. Well, this was not part of my prep. So, I mean, obviously some of it was prepped, but it had a middle game that I had not prepared for. So it's a miniature. It's my proudest miniature. Um, you guys will see. So I was white. This was a 10-minute game played on chess.com. I played e4. My opponent played e6, the French defense. And against the French defense, I like to play the two knights defense because it catches a lot of French players off guard, and a lot of times I can get positions that I like. So that starts with knight f3. My opponent played d5. I played knight c3. And oops, I don't know why the engine was on. I forgot to turn it off, but here there's a couple moves you can play. The main line starts with knight f6, but my opponent did not play that. My opponent played d cross e4, which is also playable. I continue with knight cross e4, and now my opponent played knight f6. And I took this knight, and this is all prep. I all have had this prepared, and you don't want to take back with the pawn because that's kind of weird. So my opponent took back with the queen. And when I get this position as white, I have a simple plan, and it's to play d4, c3, bishop d3, bishop e3, and like queen d2, and then choose which way to castle. And if black plays b6 in some positions, sometimes you can go bishop e4, and this diagonal is really annoying for black to defend. And that actually happened in this game. You'll see. But that is my plan right now. So I started that off with d4, and d4 also, it grabs the center. It also has this nice threat of bishop g5, and the queen will get kicked around if black is not careful. So for that reason, my opponent played h6. I continued with my plan. I played c3. I could have developed either of my bishops as well, but c3 is fine. My opponent played bishop d6, so he's just preparing to castle. I played bishop e3, and my opponent castled. Now I played bishop d3, and here, this light squared bishop, it's having trouble developing on this diagonal, so my opponent decided he would try to develop it on the other diagonal, b6, but this is not the best move. This might even be an inaccuracy because of the move which I suggested earlier, which is bishop e4. And now you can't actually defend this diagonal. You have to play c6, and this is not a pretty queen side, let me just say. And here, I don't think I've ever reached this exact position before. In fact, I know I have not. Uh, but here I saw that I could make a sneaky threat. Um, And so I did so with the move h4. And this is not the best move. The engine actually recommends g4, but you know that's kind of a crazy engine move. I probably would have just played queen d2 in like a classical game, but this was rapid, so I decided to make sort of a sneaky threat, and I played h4. And maybe you guys see what I'm talking about in a minute, but my opponent did not see what I was thinking, and he just continued development. He played bishop b7, so you know he's just trying to get his pieces developed, and he did not see my threat. And this position is actually now completely winning for white. And so if you want to pause the video and try to find the winning move for white, you can do that now. And I will show you guys the move which I played in the game. It is bishop g5. Bishop g5, and black's queen is actually trapped. Black's queen has no squares. So you have to take this bishop with h takes g5, and that's what my opponent did. Now, when I played bishop g5 in the game, I didn't actually see that it was winning, but I had an intuition that it might be winning, and I saw that at the very least, if it wasn't winning, that I could at least take a draw with this sequence of moves, which was h takes g5, and then, for example, queen e7, and I could make a draw with this perpetual check like this. And maybe I would find something better and end up with a win. So, oops, I spoiled the next move. But after my opponent took, I thought for a couple more minutes and made some more calculations. And I found this move, bishop h7 check, which is kind of a fancy move because you cannot actually take this bishop because of h takes g5 now is check, and black will lose the queen. So this is not possible. The bishop cannot be taken, so my opponent played king to h8. And now is when I played h takes g5, so, you know, opening up the h file, getting ready for some discoveries with the bishop. And once again, if things start to go wrong for me, I always have this perpetual draw that I can take. And I still could have something better than that. So my opponent continued. He played queen e7. And here I thought what the best... I thought for a while what would be the best move. And I ended up finding the best move. And it's not exactly obvious, but the move, if you want to pause the video now, you can search for it. But the move is actually knight to e5, which doesn't seem like... I mean, it doesn't seem like an immediately winning move, or it's not a forcing move, which, you know, maybe you wouldn't think of to calculate it immediately, but it actually looks very strong once you see it. And the simple threat is, you know, you can't take this knight because there's this bishop g6 and rook sacrifice idea, kind of Greek gift-esque, like this checkmate. Not exactly Greek gift, but sort of a similar theme. So you can't take this knight. Here you actually have to take the g-pawn right here. But if black does this, there's another tactic that white has. So if you want to pause the video right here and find the best move for white, you can go ahead and do that. So the move is actually bishop g6. And, okay, so black has 4 legal moves, and 3 of them just give up the queen immediately. So black is going to play, or the most critical variation is king to g8. And here you can actually play bishop takes f7. And this looks like it just loses a bishop, but after rook takes f7, now you guys might be seeing it, it's rook h8 check, and once the king takes, you get the fork on the king and the queen. And after everything is traded, white has a queen for 2 bishops, and white's also up a pawn. So I would have been very happy to go into this. And queen takes g5 is the only way to stop this bishop g6 and rook h8 and queen h5 sort of thing. You know, you can try g6, but I'm pretty sure g6 doesn't even work. I'm not going to go into it just for the sake of not making this video too long. But in the game, my opponent played bishop takes e5. I guess in the game I didn't actually see this bishop g6. I must have just overlooked it. But I did see this other winning move, which was queen to h5. And it's the same sort of deal. You know, bishop g6 is coming. The only way to stop it is queen takes g5, which just gives up the queen. So this is obviously better for black than just the immediate checkmate, but it's still completely winning for white. And here my opponent played f5, so maybe he was hoping I would take en passant and give up my attack or something like that. But no, I just continue with bishop g6, and black has one Lego move, king g8. And as Amon Hamilton once said, if you see mate in 1, which there are 2 mate in 1s in this position, you should look for better. And I noticed that I had already sacrificed 2 of my minor pieces, my knight and my bishop, so let's go for the hat trick. Bishop f7, and now it doesn't matter what piece black recaptures or black captures with. Next move, I play queen h8, and that is going to be checkmate. So I hope you guys enjoyed the game. This is, once again, this is probably my best miniature. I got checkmate in only 19 moves. So if you enjoyed, make sure to hit the like button. And I'm going to be uploading chess videos every single day. So make sure you're subscribed, and check me out on Twitch, because I'm going to stream over there occasionally, maybe every day, maybe just occasionally. I don't really know yet. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.